I guess on the subject, um, not on the subject at all. What am I talking about? The Mario movie trailer came out. Um, it looks fine. If you wanted to know my reaction, it looks fine. Um, excuse me. I think a reality of the modern video game movie. See, we've kind of been spoiled in a sense because there's so we've historically only or almost exclusively had terrible video game movies. There's a couple decent ones, right? Ones that aren't like too bad. But so many of them are like the worst things ever. Uh, Going back all the way to the original Mario Brothers movie. And it's like, oh, it would be cool if we got good video game movies because, we like video games. But in a sense, I think it's almost like the monkey's paw curling, right? Because yeah, the reality, it's nice to not have something that's super terrible as like a representation of a thing that you like a lot, but to like a audience of people who don't engage with it, it's nice to have something that is not that. However, the alternative is often being just fine, just okay. You know, is this movie going to be a better experience than like playing Super Mario 64? I highly doubt it. Is it going to be a better experience than even playing the original Super Mario Brothers? I don't know. It's like a weird thing. I've never really considered that. Comparing the experience of watching a movie to playing a game, like in specific. I have no idea. It's probably going to be a perfectly serviceable animated family movie with Mario characters. It's a fucking Illumination movie. What did you expect? I guess I do have a couple specific reactions. Oh, when I say spoiled, we've been spoiled, right? What I mean by that is, yeah, the Resident Evil movies are stupid and bad, but they're like hilarious. A lot of video game movies fall into that like, what the once you're removed enough from them, like I'm sure when the Doom movie came out, it was like a huge disappointment. But now you can go back and be like, this is hilarious. What the fuck is this? In hindsight, you can appreciate them. I don't know if in hindsight you'll appreciate like the Mario movie in quite the same way. Mind you, I'm also the guy who was like, Sonic 2 is a movie. So I'm not maybe I'm not the target audience, right? For an Illumination animated film. I'm 100% willing to admit that. I have to be a little self-conscious for a minute. Maybe this is made for children who like things. Oh my god, I had the worst moment. So if you guys remember when I talked about Sonic 2, the movie, every time I hear Sonic 2, I think about the game. I have to remind myself that it's the movie. The Sonic 2, the movie. Oh man, I wish there was a game based off of it so we could have like a Sonic 2, the movie, the game. We don't do that anymore, though. Actually, we might. Actually, it's just called Sonic. It's just called Sonic Video Games. I'm getting sidetracked again. One of my big takeaways was, and what apparently stood out to Kat, I was telling her about this experience I had the other day, where I saw the Sonic 2 movie, and there's obviously it's like the live action parts, right? And I enjoyed the live action parts more than the Sonic parts. And And I seem to be like the only person on the internet who did. And I felt weird about it. I was like, really? Like, no one liked those parts? I was like, that was like, those were like for me, maybe I didn't explain this that great back then, but those scenes were like, it felt like a relief. Like when the Sonic parts were on, I was like, there was just like a lot of exposition, and it was very, I don't know, it was not engaging me, which is perfectly fair. I saw this in an audience of children and their parents. Perfectly fair. But like about my personal experience, to speak to my personal experience, not super engaged by the Sonic plot line. I can't say that I am. So when those sections showed up, I was like, oh, this is fun. He's got to like, oh, the wife thinks he's, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, oh, you got this little plot line. Oh, the groom doesn't like him, or something like that. Or his brother-in-law, that's what it is. His brother-in-law doesn't like him, or that's something like. I was like, oh, this is fun. Interpersonal conflict. And it felt like a relief from like the Sonic scenes for children. And I was like, oh, like the fucking dancing scene where Tails is mixed so loudly. Why is he mixed so loudly? Why does he talk so much louder when he makes the holograms come out? I still remember that. And I'm the only person who felt like this. And recently, very recently, I was catching up on the Castle Super Beast podcast, which I just fell off for a while, and then recently in the last couple, like over the last week, I've just been catching up on all the clips and stuff like that. And I got to the episode where the Sonic 2 movie came out, and it was Wooly was just sharing his reaction, and he was going over his reaction and explaining kind of how he felt about the movie to Pat. And Wooly is, talking about it, and he said, oh, I didn't enjoy the human scenes. I didn't like them. I wish it was more Sonic. And he said something like, yeah, there's this whole section this whole scene in the middle of the movie where it's just like an extended section with just the human characters, and I didn't know what the point of it was. And I went and looked at the comments, and there was a commenter who said the point of that scene was to be that scene was meant as a relief for the parents in the audience who had to sit through the movie for their kids. And I read that, and I was like, oh no, oh god, please, I'm only 20, I can't, why am I having dad opinions? Why am I having dad reactions to movies? No, please. I'm like reaching out. That clip from like the 90s Spider-Man animated series, where the Mary Jane, it's like made of mist, is like disappearing, or no, the not the Mary Jane, the Gwen Stacy, fall damage girl. And Peter Parker's like she's like made, there's like a version of her, it's made of mist, she's like evaporating, and he's like, no. It's like me to my youth, my youthful optimism and vigor. No, please. I'm reaching out to like the light that's fading. I'm being pulled into the darkness. So what I'm saying is, unless you're a parent with a kid, do not trust my opinion on any animated video game movie like that that comes out. I gotta start marketing. Like half my audience is the let me remind myself how YouTube breaks it down, because everyone always talks about the 18 to 24 demographic. That's about on the main channel. It's about half of my audience, and the other 50% is in. Please load. I'm just pulling it up on my phone because I don't feel like switching accounts. The other 50% is in the bracket just above that, the age range just above that, which is the 25 to 34-year-old. Oh, it's 40% now. Kind of oscillates, but yeah, sometimes I have more of one and more of the other. But yeah. For the 25 to 34-year-old market, I'm your man. I'm your barely an adult. I guess I could share some other reactions that I had specifically to the trailer. Let me pull it up just to remind myself. Trailer. Just so I can just skim through it. Yada yada. So, I like that they got the penguins. I like that they used this is pretty clearly just like the opening scene of the movie. It's most of the trailer. I'm actually glad that they didn't do like just showing the whole series or the whole movie in like one trailer, even though it's like 2 minutes long. I'm glad that they at least had a little bit of because I remember just sitting, because Kat drags me to all these baby time movies, sitting through like so many Minions trailers, and or was it Minions 2? And it's literally like I know the whole movie. I know what the whole movie is. So I'm at least glad that Illumination seemed to take a different approach with the trailer, which was not showing the entirety of the movie. And just pretty much just what the setup is. It's the Pengies. It's the Pengies from Mario 64. That's cute. I like that. Second thing, did they have to make Kamek Jewish? Was that like a necessity? I get that okay, Kamek has always been like a Jewish coded character, so to speak, right? Like, you know, he's got the glasses, he's his color schemes, you know, blue and white, like, okay, dude, like, I see what you're doing. He's kind of like a Koopa version of Larry David. Like, I understand he's the only Koopa who has like a very pronounced, you know, the shape of his head, he has a very pronounced, you know, snout, and the fact that he, you know, serves a reptilian overlord. Like, I get that, like, you know, he's always been implied to be like, you know, gaming's first Jew, but I think giving him like the voice, it's a little too far. It's a little on the nose, no pun intended. On the regularly sized Jewish nose, it's a little on it. You know, he wears a funny hat all the time. Like, it's okay. You're pushing it once you add the voice into the equation. I also like the implication in the trailer when all the Pengies get thrown to the side, that the Koopas are gonna fucking skewer them on spears if they so much as move. What else? There's really only two things that happen. There's the Jack Black voice. Excuse me. He sounds fine. He sounds like he's having fun. I actually had to remember that it was Jack Black. He is voice acting. He does not sound like they just threw Jack Black in a booth. And I love Jack Black. Jack Black seems like he legitimately just cares about things and like he's having fun. Like, he was probably fucking stoked to get this role. So at least like you kind of like he's having fun in the booth, doing a voice, and so it's a decent Bowser like interpretation. Bowser's always kind of been rah, 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 hurrah. And he's kind of taking that, but like in something you can actually speak words with. People hate the Chris Pratt voice. Holy shit. It's like not the best thing in the world. But granted, there's only been like 2 lines. He's only said 2 lines. And I don't know. I would have to see more of it or hear more of it, more accurately, to make any kind of statement about how good it is. People have said like he's doing a little something with it, but I can't really tell. It might have just been that scene. I have no idea. I'm at least willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's fine in the long run. I can definitely see I don't know what people were expecting. Maybe they weren't expecting anything. They were just. I feel like people were going to be disappointed. In most ways, because it's hard. Like, how do you approach that, right? Because Mario goes, oh, waha, yippee. Like, Mario doesn't have dialogue. He makes noises. Mario is like a Pokemon in the anime. Like, the Pokemon. He just, says things. Oh, mamma mia. Like, that's not dialogue. Like, it is, but it's not like he's not saying... Well, first of all, it's monologue. He's never really talking to anyone. He how where do you go with that? How do you make him talk? Like, oh boy, oh wow. Like Mario has literally one emotion, and it's bouncy optimistic glee, and Italian, I guess, would be his. That's like his accent or his voice, his language. He speaks Italian. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a decent challenge. Could he have come up with something? Could he have brewed up some kind of way that incorporates the original Charles Martinet voice with with something that's makes more sense for a character speaking dialogue? Maybe, yeah, maybe he did, and these were just not good instances of such. Also, arguably, I think you can't, even if you don't like the voice, I think it's fair to pin some of it on Pratt, but also you got to think about what voice acting is about. A lot of times bad voice acting is a consequence of a bad director, or a director who's not pushing hard enough for something, or a director who says, it's good enough. So maybe it's not entirely Chris Pratt's fault. Maybe the blame could be shared. I feel like I'm defending Chris Pratt, but I don't know. These were just things that occurred to me, and it didn't seem like I didn't really see people bringing them up, and there was just this tidal wave of hatred for his performance of 2 lines in the trailer. Also, another thing you got to think about, the actual dialogue itself. So yeah, Mario has been one emotion for 40 years. So having a film where he's maybe doing other things and feeling other kinds of ways, the script writer has to figure out, what would Mario say here? What kind of a person is he? Which if they mess that up, if the dialogue just doesn't sound like if the dialogue just on paper doesn't seem like something Mario would say, it's really hard to as a voice actor, I imagine, do anything with that. If they just wrote Mario as a normal guy who I'm assuming, oh my god, there was a bingo card, and there was one thing that I remember off the bingo card for the trailer, which was what is this place? And then pop music starts playing. The moment in the trailer where he goes, where am I? I literally my lungs were deflated. Oh my god, they said it. They said the line. What is this place? Welcome to the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario. The fucking Katy Perry starts playing. Over here's Toad, and that's The princess. Oh boy, do you have any linguine? I'm just looking for my brother. Oh no. Boom. Oh no, we gotta save the Mushroom Kingdom. Come on, Toad. I'm glad it wasn't that. I'm glad it wasn't that. It was a fairly, like, pretty standard trailer, all things considered. It wasn't that bad. As like, oh, this is just what every animated family movie trailer is gonna be. It wasn't that quite that stereotypical, but yeah, they definitely were not. What's the most unique trailer? That's a good question, because I get interested in stuff like that, like trailer editing. That stuff can be like sometimes trailers are interesting. I think there's, like, as an editor, I think that they're interesting, because in a way, like, when I make intros for videos, sometimes I almost imagine that as like making a trailer, right? Like a trailer for the video you're about to watch. More accurately, they're just intros or openings, but like, that stuff I think is interesting. I wonder what's the most unique trailer? I'd be curious to know. Drop me some in the comments, like very memorable, different trailers that you can think of. Anyway, yeah. So it wasn't that bad. But when I heard that line, I was like, oh my god. So I'm assuming they're gonna do some kind of isekai, fish out of water. He goes through the pipes, and then he ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom, and something like that, like the fucking live action movie. Maybe it'll be something like that. Oh, am I gonna sneeze or not? I can't tell. Anything else that I had a reaction to? Oh, Mario looks very... He looks very yassified. He looks like his face is very... That's the only way I can describe it. He looks very yassified. I guess this is just him in a slightly different art style. I think there was, like, that joke where he touches the blue mushroom, I think, and the toad jumps out, and he's like, oh, don't touch that, and I think that's a reference to the poison shrooms, like the poison mushrooms from, like, Mario 2, I think? I'm not sure. If it's not, then I don't think that makes sense, or... Wait, was he talking about, like... Was the toad talking about, like, his own head? Like, his own little mushroom head? Like, don't touch that. Don't touch my mushroom head? I don't know. Keegan-Michael Key sounds fine. He is doing the voice. I actually had to... Oh, yeah, that's Key. Yeah, that's Key. Like with Jack Black, I had to remind myself. Oh yeah, that's Keegan-Michael Key. And when you really listen, you're like, yeah, I can hear him. I can maybe kind of hear him in the voice, but for the most part, yeah, maybe they could have pitch shifted it up a little bit. I heard some reactions along those lines. I think it sounds fine. I'm not. There are people who can do really good Toad impressions, but I don't think it's good on their throats. So he probably found something that was close enough that was, like, reasonable for him to do physically, and just kind of ran with it. So he sounds fine. There's like a bunch of the Mushroom Kingdom, Peach's Castle in the background. It'll probably be... That's the disappointing thing, right? It'll probably be perfectly fine. Just okay. According to me. By my opinion, by my standards. So... I'm probably going to get dragged to it by a certain someone, but do not expect, I don't know, a glowing review. It's going to be an illumination film. It'll be perfectly middle of the road, safe, just like everything else that they do. So that's probably what my reaction will be.